Hi, my name is Richard Hernandez, and I wanted to make this video just to give you a few tips of what you need to do in case you are running into credit problems or if you already have some credit issues. This is not meant to be a complete and detailed credit repair video. Something like that would have to be very detailed and very long to be accurate and useful. So let me begin by giving you the standard disclaimer. I am not a credit repair agency. I am not in the credit field. I am not a financial advisor. So any information I give you comes from my experiences and the experiences of those who I have helped. So take any information at your own risk. In my last video that I recorded regarding how to get your first credit card, it occurred to me that there may be a lot of people that have credit issues and need some kind of solution just as much as there are people that are first starting to get their credit card. So making a video on credit repair is going to be it's going to be a very long video, and it'll probably have to be several videos. Credit repair is a very tricky and a very complicated process with a lot of in and outs that would have to be discussed. So I wanted to try to avoid that unless somebody actually needed something like that. But I thought I can make this video and at least give you some tips in case you are in that situation or you're about to be in that situation, what you are able to do and what you can, and basically how the whole process works. Okay, in the first place, if you have a credit card or some credit or something that's starting to fall behind, try to catch up. And that's the obvious answer, of course. If you can't, call the finance company or call the bank, call the credit card company and talk to them, explain to them what's going on. And usually if you have the desire to make payments, they will typically work with you, and there's some credit card companies that will bend over backwards to help you to make the payment. They rather give you more time than to have you default on your credit. On your side would be the fact that you do call, because one of the big red flags that these credit card companies have when they're trying to collect the debt is that people don't answer their phone, or they pick up the phone and they hang up, and they call and call and call and can't get anybody. Then that is one of their red flags that person may default on their credit. So if you're calling them and you are trying to make an arrangement with them, a lot of the times they will work with you. Be tough though if you're in that situation, because a lot of the times they will tell you, oh, this is the last arrangement, this is all I'm able to do, this is your last chance, whatever it may be. But then you call them back again and, well, this is your last chance, you have one more chance to take care of this. You know, they want to try to collect that money from you as quickly as possible. Also the reason is they don't know if you're going to get into further trouble and then all of a sudden not have any money. So they want to collect as much money from you as possible in the shortest amount of time possible. Just keep that in mind. But just talk to them and explain the situation, and hopefully come up with a plan before you call them. So at least you're able to tell them, okay, well, I can't pay now, but this is my plan. This is what I'm planning, and this is how I'm going to pay you. Then a lot of the times they will help you out. Now, if you've gotten a little bit past that and you're really behind, typically the credit card companies will maybe around roughly after 30 to maybe 60 days, they will transfer your account to their internal collections department, and then maybe sometime after 90 days, maybe 60 to 90 days, then they will transfer your account to an outside collection department, where they will be the people calling you and looking for you and trying to find you. And then sometime after that, they will they will list your account as a bad debt and then sell off your account to these collection agencies for for a fraction of what you actually owe. And then at this point, you are you will have to deal with the collection agency that's calling you at the time. You will no longer deal with the credit card company. So there's pluses and minuses. If you can avoid this, then do that. If you have to make some payment to try to avoid sending it to a collection agency, then do that, because it is much easier to work with the credit card company than it is with a collection agency. And if you're still able to make a payment with the credit card company, there's a better chance that they will allow you to get another credit card shortly in the future once you catch up. Okay. Now, once your account moves into the into the collection agency area there, the plus side is that they have now certain laws that they have to follow in order to collect debt. Okay, now keep in mind, I'm in California. Every state will have different laws that you are going to have to look up and find out what applies to you. And here in California, there's a certain time that they can't call you past 8 o'clock, and they can't call you before, I believe it's 8 o'clock in the morning. But during those times that they are able to call you, you have to be aware that they are going to call every single number that they have on you, and they're able to find for you multiple times per day. Okay. Now, you're going to get a letter. You should get a letter from the collection agency. This letter is their statement telling you that they are collecting a debt, etc., etc., etc. Now at this point, it's kind of a little game here. And before I continue, let me say this. Okay, let me just state here the moral side of this. That is your debt, that money that you charged on that credit card. So you owe that credit card. You owe that money, regardless of what happens. You owe that. There's a whole moral issue of you skipping out on that debt. Okay. Now that being said, what you have to also be careful is that there is a statute of limitations on your on that account. Okay, here in California, it's 4 years. 4 years from the what's called from the date of first default. The date of first default is the day that you got behind on your credit, and then you never the day you got behind on your payments and then you never caught up. That is the date of first default. So from that point up to 4 years, they're able to sue you. If they have not sued you during that amount of time, then legally they cannot sue you after that. What a lot of these companies do, and a lot of these collection agencies, they are, some of them will try to help you. Some of them are a little, well, a little less than honest. What they will try to do is they will try to get you to make a payment. They'll say, well, just make a $10 payment, make a $5 payment, make us a small payment, and to allow us to work with you. And the reason they want to do that is because once you make a payment, then you reset the statute of limitations, and then now they're able to sue you. So if they keep this up, they will be able to sue you for a very long time, and you want to try to avoid that. Okay, now let's say you are past the statute of limitations. A lot of these collection agencies may still try to sue you. What they will do is they will submit the paperwork to the court to sue you. You get the paperwork from the court. Now this paperwork is the one I'm sure you've seen that has the plaintiff and the defendant. It's got numbers down the side, and it explains the collection agency's stand on this. Okay. It is very important, extremely important, that you answer that letter properly, and you make sure that is received by the court within the allotted time. Now, this means that you cannot do it yourself. Unless you are an attorney, you cannot do it yourself. Don't try going to YouTube and looking up how to respond to this paperwork. Don't do that. The reason is because if you think that you did a good job, but the judge that has to review it does not, then they will reject your letter, and then the collection agency will win by default. Okay, you do not want that. So you don't necessarily have to have an attorney in order to prepare that letter. You you can have a paralegal to prepare that, because very likely if you go to an attorney, their paralegal is the one who's going to prepare it anyway. And a lot of times you can get it typed up for maybe $100-$200, somewhere around there. It's usually not that much. You have that letter. A lot of times they'll send it for you, and then what will happen, since you're past the statute of limitations, and the collection agency knows that if you were able to respond to that letter properly, that means you have legal counsel. So it's very likely that when they get to the court, the first thing that's going to get brought up is that it's past the statute of limitations and the case is going to get thrown out, so they lose that money. So what they will do is they will push it as far as possible, and if they see that you responded properly, because they'll get a copy of that letter too, then they will drop the case just before. Now the reason they do this is because if you do not answer that letter, and I've said this before, but if you do not answer that letter properly, in a proper legal format, they win by default. If you do anything wrong, they win by default. Nobody's going to, the burden is on you or your attorney to point out to the judge that it is past the statute of limitations. And if they win by default, yes, you can sue them again. You can sue them. Then you can have the decision reversed because it was past the statute of limitations, but by that time you would have spent time and money. They have a judgment against you that they're able to use to garnish your wages, and once they take that money, it's very likely you're not going to get it back. So that is very, very important that you look at that. Okay. Now, any bad mark or any lates that you have on your credit report are going to stay on your report for 7 years. If you have other credit cards that are in good standing, as time goes on, some of those marks will not look as bad. But if that's all you have, then you're pretty much without credit for the remainder of those 7 years. So you want to try to avoid that if you can. A lot of the times you are able to make an arrangements with a collection agency if you have the money to pay in the debt in full. You can make an arrangement, call them up and make an arrangement to that if you pay off the full balance of your outstanding debt, that they will remove the bad mark from your credit. Make sure to get that in writing. That is very difficult. There's a lot of things that you're able to do. There's a letter you're able to send once you get that first letter from a collection agency. There's other legal stuff that you're able to do, but again, this video was not really meant for that. The main thing is I just wanted to explain just the basic tips so you understand what you need to do if you do get in this situation, and sometimes that's enough for most people. If you do have some more questions, please put them in the comment section below, and I will try to answer your questions. And if I get enough questions, then I might make a full video on how to repair your credit. The one thing to keep in mind, though, repairing credit is not actually fixing it and then you have perfect credit and you're fine. It's merely there are methods involved that you are able to question the debt to these collection agencies, and if they don't have all the paperwork, the original paperwork with your signature or your online signature, if it was an application you did online, then they have to stop collecting. And a lot of the times they don't have the paperwork, and there's certain methods there's certain methods similar to that you're able to take in order to to remove some of the stuff from your credit report, but nothing is for sure. But I just wanted to explain just your basic points on this, and hopefully that's able to help somebody. What else? The other thing I would do is I would sign up for a credit monitoring service. That way you're able to pull your reports at least monthly to show to see what is getting placed on your credit report. I use the credit service from American Express. You don't have to have one of their credit cards to get the service, and you're able to pull unlimited reports daily. And if you do one a day, that's more than enough, or one every couple of days. At least that way you're able to see what's on your credit report. The other thing too, and I get this question all the time, it's those identity theft protection services such as LifeLock, and well, there's several out there. You have to be very careful with those. You have to know what you're getting into, because as I explained before, there are three credit bureaus. There's Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And a lot of times these services will pull the credit report from only one credit bureau. And what about the other two? Now it's you would assume that if somebody applies for a credit card in your name and then defaults on that credit card, that credit card company will report it to all three credit bureaus. And that's true, most of them will. But some of them will not. Some of them may only report it to one. So what happens if somebody applies for a credit card, knowing that these ID theft companies, they only monitor certain credit reports, so they'll apply for a credit card that will go on a report that they know is not going to show up, and then you won't know. Some of these, this information doesn't get updated at the credit bureau every month all the time, so that's another issue. So if you're able to pull a credit report from all three credit bureaus, then that would be a better solution. Now, some of these credit report companies, credit monitoring companies, they will give you a credit score, and again, like I explained before, it's usually a Vantage score or one of these fake credit scores. It is not a FICO score, but again, that's not the purpose of that. So that's these ID theft protection companies are kind of my pet peeve, because they promote these companies like it's a big thing, like it's going to help you, but it doesn't really protect you very well if it's only monitoring one of your credit reports. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, some of the other protection that they have, they give you $1 million in case your credit is ever compromised. Who's to say that they're not going to charge you $20,000 to write a letter and $50,000 to send it or something? That's going to be the issue. If you really want to use one of these, I would suggest that you find out if they monitor all three credit bureaus, and if for some reason your your identity is stolen, what they're going to charge, what is their price breakdown of the services to fix it, and then you'll have a better idea if it's worth it or not. Like I said, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below, and I will do my best to answer them. And again, this was not meant as a complete and detailed credit repair video. This is only a few tips of some things that are that usually the average consumer doesn't know, and these collection agencies try to take advantage of. So if this video helped you, then great. Please let me know down below, and then I will make some more. Thank you very much, and good luck.